Poland. And before he was 25 years old, he lost all of his family, even his wife. He was hiding. The times of the Gentiles were being fulfilled, but they weren't yet over. Nebuchadnezzar that could destroy the holy place. That Hitler gallows was waiting for Dietrich Bonhoeffer. While the times for the Gentiles, the Nazis, were coming to an end, there were Nicholas Thalicinos type people there at the time of the Holocaust. And you see, you don't realize it, but the same thing is going on right now. The only difference is that the Hitlers are proliferating. They have their automatic AK weapons, and they're going in and killing the believers. And you see, this is in the scriptures. Luke chapter 21, verse 24, until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled, and until they come to an end. And all Israel is saved, and everyone turns to the Kadosh Yisrael, the Holy One of Israel. As it says in Isaiah, what is it? Chapter 17, verse 7, or maybe it's chapter 62, I can't remember. So what I'm trying to say is, here they are. I'm going to give you a little Bible geography lesson. Kadesh Barnea. What is it? It's an oasis, a beautiful oasis, sort of like what America looks like to many people, especially immigrants. Where is it? It's at the southern edge of Israel. It's in the area that the Israelites are using as a staging area. What are they getting ready to do? They're getting ready to do the conquest of Canaan. Numbers chapter 13, verse 26, and they're encamping there, and their spies are going out. And it was right there that Moses tries to have a business meeting. And you see, well, Phil, why are you so nervous about January the 17th? The same reason Moses was probably nervous about that little meeting. Because it was a meeting where they were going to decide whether they were going to go in and take the land. And actually, it took them 38 years to do it because they didn't get the right vote. The rebels were wandering in the wilderness until they returned to the very same place nearly 40 years later, chapter 33. Look at Numbers chapter 33, verses 36 to 37. And then Aaron died. He died right there at Kadesh Barnea. This is also the place where they complained about the hardship of the wanderings, and they angered Moses, and he struck the rock, and he forfeited his own marching privileges to go in with them into the promised land. And so you have to see what's going on. I wish that you would actually Google Stanley Berg, B-E-R-G, Saving Jewish Children, and also Google when being Jewish was a crime, and think about New York City. That's where Rockmill Friedland spent his last days. But you got to see right now what it says in Haggai. These people say that the time has not yet come to rebuild the Lord's house. They're saying something like this. Well, I would like to do that, but I'm building my own house. It's a well-paneled house, and I'm getting my antiques in there, especially my little antique teapot that I love so much. And I'm going to invest in me, myself, and I, while God's house lies in ruins. And we're going to see what happens. Well, let me tell you what's going to happen, friend. One day, in your little well-paneled, gated community place, you're going to look around and you can't find your antique teapot because it's in the refrigerator because you have Alzheimer's. And then your fat son and your fat daughter-in-law and your fat grandchildren are going to show up. They're going to throw it in the dumpster. They're going to sell the condo, and that's going to be the end of it. That's the end of your well-paneled house, because you weren't thinking about God's house. Zeal for your house has consumed me, says the Moshiach ben David. Zeal for your house has consumed me, says Moshiach ben David. And I really wish that you would come to your senses, because, at the business meeting, you always have these penny wise and pound foolish people, and they're always saying, well, why are we spending all this money on rubber bands? Let me tell you what we're spending money on, friends. Look at this little invoice right here. It's called Global University. It's called Education in the Bible. It's called Raising Up Divinity Students, Ministry Students, Ministers, Future Leaders. This is what we have to report to the congregation. And I want to give you a little Hebrew lesson while I'm giving you this little geography lesson. I want to show you this word, Moreh Sheker. Look at it very carefully in the camera. Moreh Sheker. It's a biblical term, both words together in the minor prophets. Mem, Holem Vav, Resh, Hey, and then the second word, Shin, Kof, Resh. It means false teacher. False teacher. False teacher. Listen, if you're a false teacher, you're going to burn in the lake of fire. And the false teachers are the ones that show up at these business meetings. In New York City, we have these greedy false teachers. They say, oh, this real estate is worth millions. All I got to do is stack the membership and stack the board. And the next thing you know, we'll have that money. Yes, we'll have Judas's 30 pieces of silver, but we'll have 30 million instead of just a little bit of change. We're going to have it all. Listen, friend, the false teacher will burn in the lake of fire. The reason I wrote this book, Everything You Need to Grow a Messianic Synagogue, is I wanted for the Jewish people to reclaim their faith, but in a Messianic synagogue with sound doctrine. Now, when you read When Being Jewish Was a Crime by Rockmell Friedland, he will tell you all of the Jewish things about the Jewish religion, but then he'll show you the biblical basis. And the wonderful thing was, he had this precious little Jewish New Testament. It was a Yiddish Bible, a Yiddish translation. It wasn't done that well, but it was well enough for him to read it and come to the Lord. And it was so important that he would come to the Lord, because he was going to lose his family and his wife and everything in Poland, because the Nazis were there. The times of the Gentiles were running out, but they weren't over yet. They hadn't been fulfilled yet. And while the times of the Gentiles, the Nazis were coming to an end, Rockmell Friedland had his little Yiddish New Testament. And here I am, I got to go before the board and show them, look, I've had to spend money because it costs money for the software and all this stuff. And I don't know whether they're going to really go for it. But let me ask you something. If Nicholas Thalassinos is being martyred in San Bernardino, don't you think it's time to give a Yiddish Bible to the Hasidim, the Yiddish-speaking Hasidim in Borough Park, in Kiryas Yoel, in Spring Valley, in Monroe, in New Square, in Iowa, Postville, Iowa, and all these places? Don't you think I should be burning the midnight oil to get this done? Yesterday, I uploaded 2 more of the minor prophets. It's all finished. It's just being checked and uploaded. Then it will be downloaded, shipped off to the book manufacturer, the Bible manufacturer. And then these shrink-wrapped books will be prayed over and wept over. And then we will get in the car and if someone will go with me, and if not, I'll go by myself, and they'll be thrown out, and they'll be placed on every Hasidic door. And friend, what are you going to be? Are you going to be a Moreh Sheker and bring reproach? There's this congregation on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. We're hearing about them in the newspaper and on the television. There's shoving matches and fist fights, and the thieving leadership is being hauled up before the court, put in jail. All this stuff. It's deja vu. It's Glad Tidings Tabernacle all over again. And oh friend, this is a picture of the last days. Because in the last days, the love of many will grow cold. People will be lovers of self, lovers of money. And what does it say will happen? There will be a terrible persecution and many martyrs, many Nicholas Alcinoses. And then there will be a great falling away. And then there will be world war. And every Nebuchadnezzar will find his end at the Battle of Armageddon. But in the meantime, we're still praying for the salvation of the Jewish people. That's what all of this is about, friend. If a Gentile comes to the Lord, it's only to provoke the Jews to jealousy. You don't understand. You don't get it. It's a Jewish book. And I wish that your Bible, even if it's an English Bible, looked like this. I wish it looked like this. I wish it had tear stains on it. People like that ought to be elected to be the trustees of Beth Shalom. You go over there and you see a mountain of work to be done. A cold building. It's an ice house. You see all this clutter. You see mountains of work. We need a librarian to process the library. We need all kinds of help. We have a very sick lady trying to do it. All she gets is bad reports from the doctors. A red face, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, staggering around. Then we have these, we'll see you in a month, drive-by folks. They show up and give us a little smile, slap us on the back, and then we don't see them again. And you see, friend, Moses was sweating blood about that meeting. He knew what might happen. The leaders might come back with an evil report. The people might not have faith. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Go back and read about the times of the Gentiles. Read Revelation 11:2, Revelation 19:17, Luke 21:24, Luke 11:25 and 26, Daniel 7, Daniel 8, Ezekiel 30, verse 3. All these scriptures about the crescendo that's going to happen at the end of world history as the Goyim finally kill each other. And their time comes to an end. The times of the Gentiles to hold down the truth and unrighteousness, to hold down the Jewish revival, to hold down and trodden underfoot the Jewish people. That time will come to an end. But friend, my question to you is, will you see it? Or will you be so worldly that you won't even make it to the business meeting? You won't even be there. Lord, I pray right now, in the name of Yeshua Moshiach, that every historic Pentecostal congregation in Manhattan will not be destroyed. Amen. And oh God, I ask for an Azusa Street, Lord. An Azusa Street. Give us a William Seymour. And let us see the great glory of the Lord. The glory of the Lord to fill his temple, which is what Haggai is looking forward to. I don't want a well-paneled house. I want to see the glory of the Lord. Can you say amen? Amen.